Hey guys, welcome to Expose. I'm Natalie Hayden.
And I'm Laverne Badger. Welcome back.
Yes, I hope you guys had a wonderful Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, time with your family.
Yes.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was amazing. I had a great time. It was busy. Spent a little time with my family, my husband, my kids.
She spent some time with me. Yes.
And friends.
Yes, and friends.
So, yes. So we had a great time.
Awesome. We wanted to jump right in into our topic of the day, and it's simply about toxic masculinity.
Yes.
We want to share a couple stories that have been going on for the month of November. But first, many of you probably don't even know what toxic masculinity is. So I'm going to jump right into that definition, and it's literally on the Urban Dictionary, but it hits it right on the head. So basically, a social science term that describes narrows repressive types of ideas about male gender roles, that defines masculinity as exaggerated masculine traits like being violent, unemotional, sexually aggressive, and so forth. All suggestions that men who act too emotional or maybe aren't violent enough do or do not of the things that real men do or can't get their man card taken away. So some of those beliefs of toxic masculinity, if you can just hear what I'm saying, interaction between men and women are always competitive and not cooperative. Competitive, not cooperative. Men who never truly understand women, and that men and women can never just be friends.
Have you ever heard that before, that men and women can't be friends?
I've heard that from men.
Right.
I've heard it from men.
Right. Men say men and women can't just be friends, but
there's no such thing.
It's either, and I've heard comedians say it as well, saying the man is the friend, pretending to be the friend to ultimately get in the pants of the woman.
Yes.
We can say that that's not going to happen because we can control. We know
we get to control.
We get to control that, and if, because my daughter has been best friends with a guy who has been since they went to grade school together, and they've been friends for forever, and it just never crossed that line.
But it's the belief system of a male individual or someone. I don't want to just say male because women can be masculine as well.
Right.
And these are just relationship beliefs that they don't think that you can have friends of maybe the opposite sex. There's no such thing, right?
And another
and
example?
so another example is that real men need to be strong, and that showing emotion is a sign of weakness.
I've heard that.
Unless it's anger that is considered okay.
Right.
The idea that men can never be victims of abuse and talking about it is shameful. I've heard of that. Some men
don't tell. Men who are abused by women,
or not just by women,
abused by
or what about child abuse?
Right. They just don't. They don't tell it.
They don't talk about
because
that.
somewhere, somehow, someone said that they should be ashamed of that.
And real men don't talk about their emotions.
Right.
Now keep in mind, guys, these are beliefs and signs that you could possibly be dealing with a toxic masculine individual.
Yes.
I just don't want to just say men because it could be anybody.
Right.
Also, the idea that real men always want sex and are ready for it any time. That's neither here nor there. But also another idea that violence is the answer to everything, and that real men solve their problems through violence. I don't want to say not all men or not all individuals, but in these cases with the 3 women this past month,
right,
these gentlemen were men of power,
right,
and these were strong black minority women. Yep. And we just don't know the full dynamics of their relationship, but clearly there was some toxic masculinity going on there.
Yeah, we so like Natalie was saying, that this week, in the last 6 weeks, there had been some some higher profiled, I guess.
Definitely high profile. These women are
Yeah.
no longer here. That's
Right.
high profile.
Right, right. And so one of them was a little close to home. Dr. Tamara O'Neill. She is from Chicago, and her ex came into the hospital and killed her. And then Angela Bledsoe and Aisha Fraser Mason. And so all three of these women, right before the holidays, have been killed, and also the one in Chicago. Let's not minimize in the hospital that two of her coworkers, I believe it was two coworkers and a police officer,
Yeah.
also was killed during that time. But it was just, when I heard these stories and people were tagging me and sending them to me, and I was seeing them, and I just was like, I felt overwhelmed.
Absolutely. It was
felt-
very weighted.
Right. It felt like,
Senseless.
are we making a difference? That's what, and I posted that. Like, I felt like I wasn't really making a difference.
Like,
and
we're treading water.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and I thank everybody who was giving me feedback and sent me a text and said, girl, don't think about that. You know, there's going to be times where it's overwhelming, but know that people are listening and hearing, and what we're trying to do, and that's to educate and prevent people. But what prevent men and women from getting caught into the trap of domestic abuse. So, but what we fight against is fools like this. Let's talk about this fool. There is a archbishop. He's Spanish, so I'm gonna mess this name up, so I apologize. Archbishop Braulio Rodriguez. I'm quoting from the HuffPost that he says the root cause of DV, domestic violence, is women's disobedience to their husbands.
Interesting.
Let's marinate on that for a second.
So you're saying what grants me physical, emotional, mental, all the things that's attached to domestic abuse, I'm deserving of that because I have
Because I ain't listening to your ass. I'm sorry.
Be disobedient. Yes. To be disobedient, pretty much.
That is just, but you know, it's ridiculous, but it's true.
That is a sign of toxic masculinity.
He is a true example of that. And so, but there's a lot of people, not just men, who feel that way. You know, and it's sad because that's what we go through as victims.
If you only had listened.
Yes, if I had only did what he asked me to do, if I had only did this, if I only kept the kids quiet, if I only, you know, made sure his dinner was hot, if I don't, you know, it's always if I. And he is saying that he said that to a congregation, his congregation, people who follow him.
So can you only imagine, you know, he has a following, so therefore the men in that congregation,
right,
you know, they are being up under this type of leadership and teaching. So that's something.
And then the women feeling like they wouldn't have help.
Oh, they wouldn't.
Like, how can I get help?
There is no support.
If I know that my spiritual leader is saying that
you need to obey.
You need to obey. You need to obey. You know, and this story just kind of stood out. It almost was comical. It ticked me off, but it was comical because I'm like, but it's sad in the same breath because we know that so many feel that way. And the latest killings just prove that there's a lot of people and men who still feel this way. And my heart goes out to this family, and not just because it's the holidays that are coming up. My heart just goes out to this family. They were mothers, sisters, daughters.
They were human beings, most of all.
That have to mourn the loss of someone, not because God decided to take them away for some natural cause, but because some fool decided he couldn't handle not being with her anymore, or he had a loss of control by that person not being with them anymore.
So don't you ever, you know, like after hearing all of this and, you know, being in the positions that we are, where we are able to speak and use our voice in an impactful way to bring about change and prevention, you know, I felt taken aback because I'm like, do you ever feel like you can escape from that? There was a woman out of the three, she was no longer married
Right.
to this person. They had a child together, and like, he just snapped, showed up at the house, and it was over.
Yep.
So at what point do you feel safe?
Right.
Even afterwards, there are people that have been out of their situations for years.
Yep.
And these individuals, they come in and they just lose it. So, that was a question that I thought to myself.
Yeah, because it's you don't leave and then, okay, I got away, it's over.
Happy unless they die.
Right. And it's always even when I left and I was gone and had moved on, there's always things in the back of my mind that was like,
what if?
What would be a trigger? Mm-hmm. What could be a possible trigger? Writing my book. Could that have, how long ago that was?
Yeah,
But writing
yeah.
my book could have possibly been a trigger to say, why would she do
Expose this and put all of that out there.
And now she has to die, because of this. So you just never know. You just never know what their breaking points can be. And you have to always figure out how to, and it's keeping yourself guarded can hinder you from finding true love or finding yourself, because fear is paralyzing. So you can't live in fear. If you are gone, you need to be able to still try to just trust that you are going to be safe and take precautions to be safe, but you can't live in fear either.
Right.
Like, what's the solution? I don't
I think
know.
I think for me, and I only can speak for myself, is that you continue to surround yourself by individuals that support you, and allow yourself to not operate out of fear, and sometimes take some risks. Every day that I'm on this podcast is a risk, and I feel like it's totally worth it for another individual to find liberation, and to allow themselves to get out of a situation that could, land them in a fatal, circumstance.
So if for me, it's exposing, trying to be as transparent as you're comfortable with. I think letting people, the one thing that we don't want is for people to know that that's what we're going through. But I think it's helpful if we are letting at least some coworkers know what we're going through, so that they can be aware that if this person shows up, somebody knows at least what's going on. But if you're too closed, but we're trained to be closed.
Right.
People don't know what to expect. They don't know how to protect you. Like, not to say anything was wrong. So let's say the situation at the hospital. I don't know this to be true or not true. Did people know she was going through that?
Now I have a question.
Would it have made a difference if they did? Do you alert the security of the hospital to say, be aware of this guy, my ex, and if you see him, I don't know if that would have stopped anything
or prevented
it, but in my mind, when you take away the secrecy, I think that helps to protect you a little bit.
I think not just them, but also that individual may tread and move differently.
Right.
And when they know that other people know what they're on.
Right.
So I guess now the question is, how there's sometimes cases where individuals, you can tell when some people are going through things like on social media. They start posting, like, maybe we don't say, dude, don't put your whole life out there, but that's an opportunity for us to maybe slide in through the DM and say, hey, is everything all good?
Yeah.
So that's a way that we can check for one another. And, being of the community and within the community, it's all about support. It's about family. It's about security.
Right.
It's about all of those things that make us stronger together. Because if one person in the community, or, a whole bunch of individuals are, sick and they don't have the support that they need, then all of us, we suffer with that.
Right.
Just like, the younger, I know this isn't attached to the toxic masculinity, but it's an example of when one person, one family is hurting, we all are
We all
hurting.
hurt. The young lady who was just killed in
Yeah,
her home.
Sandra Parks.
Right, 13 years old. I didn't know her personally. I don't know her family, but we all
had
felt the
connections to her.
pain
Yes.
of that. And so I don't know. It just saddens me. But this is why we do what we do.
Yes, this is why we
This is what we're trying to do. It's gonna just be one person at a time, one prevention at a time, one conversation at a time. But I just love that you guys continue to support us, and just check on your friends. It's the holiday. Check on people that may not even be your friends, but they're putting things on Facebook that make you say, "What is really going on?"
Yes, it would not hurt.
Right, the holidays are coming up. It just really is a trying time. It's supposed to be a celebration, but it's not for everybody.
Not for everyone.
And so, but we don't want to bring a damper down, just awareness, and that's what it is. It's about exposing the things that are happening and the ignorance that's in the world, like this Archbishop Rodriguez.
And it's many of them. There's many of these.
And there's a lot in the church.
A lot in the church, and a lot in the community.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
We're gonna branch into domestic abuse in the churches.
Yeah.
And the acceptance and ignoring all of that. So we're gonna that's gonna be something in 2019 that we touch bases on. But again, we want to leave you guys on a positive note.
Yes.
2019 is going to be great. We're excited about it. More things to come.
Yes.
But I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, spending time with your family and friends, and just enjoying one another, because we're not promised tomorrow. So just be the best that you can be today.
That's right. I don't really have much else to say behind that, but we just appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us every Wednesday. And if you, like you said, I feel like you should check on your strong friends, even the ones that exude strength and all these things. They looking out for everybody else. Somebody should check for them too.
Yes.
So we love you guys.
Love you guys.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
And happy holidays.
Yes. And you'll see us in the community.
That's right. You'll see us around.
All right, you guys.
Take care.
Bye.